I've noticed something. In our endeavors to achieve what we set out to achieve, there's always that one thing holding us back. And I think I figured out what it actually is. I think it's doubt. And through my personal life and the clients that I work with, this is something that I notice creeps up quite a lot. And so I just want to share anecdotally my own experience when it comes to doubt and actually how I overcame it. I'll take you back to about 2018, where I finished my undergrad and my postgrad in psychology. And at that time, I wanted to become a clinical psychologist. That was something that all psychology students want to achieve when they set out on this pathway. And so in order to do that, you have to almost go through a certain type of route. And so it's the assistant psychologist path. And so I knew that if I got that experience, that I'd give me the best chance of being able to become a clinical psychologist. And so once I finished my studies, I applied for a lot of positions and I got a few interviews. And the one interview I went to, they said I didn't have enough first-hand experience. So I didn't get the role, unfortunately. So then I sought out on this journey to collect that first-hand experience, taking on board the feedback, really trying to increase my odds of being able to land that assistant psychologist job. And so I became a support worker for about 7, 8 months, getting that first-hand experience. And now the hospital that I was working for, an assistant psychologist position opened up. And I was thinking, great, first-hand experience, tick, I'm on my way. And I went for the interview, I got an interview, and they ultimately said that I didn't have group experience. And part of the role of an assistant psychologist is also to run groups. So over the next couple of months, in the crazy turn of events, I actually ended up becoming an activity coordinator working within occupational therapy. So I was in charge of just ensuring that certain groups were run. So that's productive groups, leisure groups, ultimately assessing the client's abilities within group dynamics. And so I did that as a role for a good 7, 8 months. Now, within the same hospital, another assistant psychologist position opened up. So I was thinking, great, got first-hand experience. Now I've got groups. There's no reason for me not to get this role now. I went for the interview, did relatively well. I thought I did really, really well, but I didn't get the role again. And now I started to question myself and my abilities a little bit. And that's the first step of where doubt comes in. It's always questioning. I was thinking, why did I not get this role? So I asked for feedback again, and they ultimately said I didn't have enough clinical experience working as part of a multidisciplinary team, whereby you work alongside doctors and nurses and social work around a client's needs. And you often have a team that you disseminate information to. So we care for them holistically from all areas. And so I then embarked on another journey. I became an assistant occupational therapist. So this is where you work under the occupational therapist and you're part of a multidisciplinary team. I picked up lots of different clinical skills, and this was what they said I needed. And about 12 months later, 14 months later, the position opened up again. Now, during this time, there had been different psychologists that had come in and out of the hospital. So when I didn't get the roles previously, it's actually because 2 psychologists didn't deem me having enough experience. And as it opened up again, I felt really doubtful. I felt as if, actually, am I the right person? Is there something about me that they don't like? Is there something about my character that doesn't suit the role? And a lot of these questions came up, and I was really trying to understand how I can do better. And I actually opted not to go for this one. Now, partly I didn't go for it is because I was so worried about what people in the hospital would think about me if I didn't get the role. They all knew I had gone for it previously, and they all said that I was a shoo-in, and I didn't get him, and that was humiliating to me. In my mind, I felt people were maybe talking about me or being like, oh, Kane's going to go for it again and he's going to fail. All these things. I just thought that, it's best if I didn't go for it. So the deadline's coming up for the application process. So I have a decision to make, and I'm erring on the side of not going for it. But after speaking to family, they told me that there's no guarantee that I'm going to get this role. But I would 100% guarantee I don't get it if I don't apply for it. And they highlighted that persistence is key sometimes. Sometimes you just need to do it. Regardless of what anyone else thinks about you, just do it. And so I was deliberating and I was overthinking it. And eventually I just decided to apply for it. Why not? If I can get over the embarrassment of others saying that I failed or whatever it is, then nothing's really stopping me other than me. So that's what I did. I applied for it again, got an interview again. This time I was really nervous because I'm thinking, if I don't get it this time, I've got to wait another 12 months until it opens up again. Usually there's a 12 months between each role that opens up, or I would have to look elsewhere. But it's a highly competitive field, so it's very difficult to get an interview in the first place. And so I went for the interview and I thought it went quite well up until a certain point. And they asked me a specific question on what's called a behavioral support plan. I gave some really generic answer, like, I don't know, it's just a plan to support behavior. But you had to expand on that, and I couldn't because I didn't know what it was. And I just had this overwhelming feeling of failure just vibrate through my whole body. And I was like, I failed again. And then the final question they asked was, why do you feel that you are suitable for the role? What is it that you offer that would indicate that we should give you the role over the other candidates? I'm paraphrasing, but it is very similar to that type of question. And I just remember being completely honest. I said, I've applied for this position 3 times in the past. The first time is I didn't have enough first-hand experience, so I became a support worker. The second time, you said I didn't have enough group experience, so I became an activity coordinator. And the third time, you said I didn't have enough clinical experience, so here I am as an assistant occupational therapist trying to land this role. And I remember saying to them that regardless of what the outcome was, I will be asking for feedback. And if need be, I'll go back and make the necessary changes, and I'll see you here in about 12 months' time. At this point in my mind, I didn't have it, so I just felt, be honest. Finished up the interview, and a week later, I actually got the role. And this was such a big achievement for me because I've been trying to get this role for a good part, 2-3 years. I was really trying, and eventually I got it. But the feedback that I got was that they said they liked my perseverance. The never lie down attitude. This was something they valued. And this is why I'm providing this sort of video today, because I want to outline that doubt is something that's naturally going to creep in. It's always going to get you at your most vulnerable moments. But actually, perseverance, that's the key. That's what's going to see you through those times. And that's what we need to learn to cultivate. Use it to your advantage. No matter what anyone says, whatever you think, use and follow the persistent path. Because that's going to get you to achieve what you want to achieve. If anyone's had any similar experience, please do let me know. I'm always open to hear these different routes around how people overcame the obstacle within their mind. Of course, if you like the video. But as always, until next time.